Hello, my friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is David. I figured I'd start the weekend off with an easy video to make and continue my library tour, which I need to get around to far, far more often than I have been. If I go at one a week, it's going to probably be 2025 by the time I get done with this. But what I'm doing is I'm taking 10 books from my shelf, showing them to you, reading the back, and part of this is to keep a record of what I currently have. Part of this is to kind of evaluate as I'm reading the backs of these as to whether or not I want the book to stay in my collection. So let's get right to it with one that is almost undoubtedly a keeper for now, at least until I read it. This is Block and Bradbury. So this has got the two finest writers of sci-fi and horror team up to give you this fantastic, frightening, fabulous book. It says on the back, the best from Block and Bradbury, a magnificent collection of science fiction and horror stories by the two best sci-fi writers in the world, Robert Bloch and Ray Bradbury. By Robert Bloch, The Shadow from the Steeple, The Grinning Ghoul, Mannequins of Horror, The Druidic Doom, A Question of Etiquette, The Man Who Cried Wolf. From Ray Bradbury, The Watchers, Fever Dream, The Dead Men, The Handler. So there we go. More Bloch than Bradbury, but should be interesting. Should probably try to read that soon. So here we go. One I know nothing about going into it. A fair number of these vintage books came from either Michael K. Vaughan, who's been extremely generous, or in the last year or two, eBay. Lots of vintage science fiction books. So that's probably where a lot of these came from, and I've never really evaluated them. This is by Pierre Boulle, Gardens on the Moon. Says, Hitler is dead. The German scientists have joined the victors. What started as inspired collaboration at Peenemünde turns into a fatal race as the brilliant lunatics scatter across the earth to join up with the big powers in the desperate race to put the first man on the moon. Convention, morality, and genius crumble when an inspired contender engineers the world's greatest upset. Pierre Boulle is at his ironic and imaginative best in Garden on the Moon. So there we go. They were the scientists who built Hitler's V-2 rockets. Now they are in the employ of the world's major powers in a race to plant the first man on the moon. Complete and unabridged thriller of the year. So, yeah. Not so sure about that one. That one might be one that I could just safely pass up and move along. Science Fiction Hall of Fame, Volume 2B, edited by Ben Bova. So, 11 more classic novellas by the most honored authors of science fiction. Isaac Asimov's The Martian White, James Blish's The Earthmen Come Home, Aldous Budrys's Rogue Moon, Theodore Cogswell's The Spectre General, E.M. Forster's The Machine Stops, Frederick Pohl's The Midas Plague, James H. Schmitz's The Witches of Caris, T.L. Sheridan, E for Effort, Wilmar H. Sherris's In Hiding, Clifford D. Simak's That Big Front Yard, and Jack Vance's The Moon Moth. There you go. This one's definitely a keeper. I definitely want to read that. That book's seen better days, but that's okay, because it's a reading collection, not a just sitting and collecting dust collection. We have Lee Brackett. I have wanted to read stuff by Lee Brackett for a while. And this is the only Brackett I think I have. The Long Tomorrow. No city, no town, no community of more than 1,000 people or 200 buildings to the square mile shall be built or permitted to exist anywhere in the United States of America. Constitution of the United States, 30th Amendment. 2 generations after the destruction, rumors persisted about a secret desert hideaway where scientists worked with dangerous machines and where men plotted to revive the cities. Almost a continent away, Len Coulter heard whisperings that fired his imagination. Then, one day he found a strange wooden box. So, there we go. When the men of science fell into disgrace and technology was against the law. Interesting. That one's sticking around because I want to read something by Brackett. So now we get into some Ray Bradbury. This is good. Haven't read it yet, but it's Bradbury. It's good. It's going to be good. So this is Long After Midnight. In these fantastical, chilling, hauntingly nostalgic tales, you enter the master storyteller's special world where a man can destroy the future by coming out of the past. Two drifters in space search through the dead cities of Mars for the fabled blue bottle. A young boy falls in love with a beautiful teacher who can't wait for him to grow up. A jealous husband shoots the perfect android replica of his unfaithful wife and is charged with robot murder. A man journeys back into the past to commit the perfect crime of revenge, plus 16 other strange hauntings and celebrations by the author of. So, there's 22 stories in here. This should be really good. And following up on that, S is for Space, another selection of short stories. S is for space and for science fiction, spine-tingling, supernatural, and sublime. S is for stories from a star wilderness that stretches as far as the eye and mind can see and imagine. Creatures who walk from the grave, children who sabotage the earth, Martians and mushrooms, spaceships and super beings, and a spellbinding collection of 16 masterworks by the author of The Long After Midnight, Illustrated Man, Martian Chronicles, Dandelion Wine. I like the cover. All right, so now we have an edited by and with introduction by Ray Bradbury. Timeless stories for today and tomorrow. Each in the remarkable Bradbury tradition, a vivid and unforgettable adventure into the unknown, written by one of the master storytellers of our time, Roald Dahl, Christopher Isherwood, John Steinbeck, Shirley Jackson, John Cheever, E.B. White, Hortense Kalischer, Franz Kafka, Ludwig Bellmans, Ray Bradbury, Walter Van Tilburg Clark, and 15 others. So, interesting collection there. Now we have a book that I think I've read. It's been a long time. This is The Warded Man by Peter V. Brett. If I remember right, this is book 1 in a series that I enjoyed quite a bit. I don't know if I ever read past book 1, but I'm pretty sure I've read this. As darkness falls after sunset, the Corlings rise, demons who possess supernatural powers and burn with a consuming hatred of humanity. For hundreds of years, the demons have terrorized the night, slowly culling the human herd that shelters behind magical wards, symbols of power whose origins are lost in myth and whose protection is terrifyingly fragile. It is not always this way. Once, men and women battled the Corlings on equal terms, but those days are gone. Night by night, the demons grow stronger while human numbers dwindle under the relentless assault. Now, with hope for the future fading, 3 young survivors of vicious demon attacks will dare the impossible, stepping beyond the crumbling safety of the wards to risk everything in a desperate quest to regain the secrets of the past. Together, they will stand against the night. I think that confirms. I am 99% certain I've read this and really, really enjoyed it. And it's one I definitely would like to revisit at some point in time. Probably not high on the priority list, because I'm assuming it's a series and I only have book 1. I have plenty of books I haven't ever read, but definitely going to stick around because I am curious to revisit it at some point in time. So now we have David Brin and Gregory Benford, Heart of the Comet. From the fertile imaginations of 2 science fiction's most formidable talents, Nebula Award winners Gregory Benford and David Brin, comes a compelling and visionary novel of epic proportions, a story of drama and power, of deep human courage and consequence, of astonishing authenticity and exciting speculation, an odyssey of discovery from a shattered society through the solar system with a handful of men and women who ride a cold, hurtling ball of ice to the shaky promise of a distant, unknowable future. Okay. And right here, San Diego Union says better than Dune. There's the bar. I'm going to hang on to this and see if it surpasses that. It's in really good condition. So, I'm happy to hang on to that one and give it a shot. And last but not least, one that I think I've read this one a long, long, long time ago. I know my sister had this and read this when I was growing up. She's 2 years younger than me, and I know that she's read this. I know I've owned this at some point. I think I've read book 1 of it, but I can't tell you the first thing about it. It's been longer than when I read The Warded Man, if I did read it. I do remember enjoying it, if this is the book I'm thinking of. On her long journey home from school after a fight which will surely lead to her expulsion, Kerrigan Galadian ponders her future as she trudges through the immense forest called Green Cloak. But her thoughts are interrupted by the clattering of hooves as a galloping horse bursts from the woods, the rider slumped over his mount's neck, impaled by 2 black-shafted arrows. As the young man lies dying on the road, he tells Kerrigan that he is a Green Rider, one of the legendary messengers of the king, and that he bears a life-and-death message for King Zachary. He begs Kerrigan to carry his message, warning her not to read it. And when she reluctantly agrees, he makes her swear on his sword to complete his mission. For love of her country, as he bestows upon her the golden-winged horse brooch, which is the symbol of his office, he whispers on his dying breath, "Beware the Shadow Man." Kerrigan's promise changes her life forever, pursued by unknown assassins, following a path only her horse seems to know, and accompanied by the silent specter of the original messenger, she herself becomes the legendary Green Rider, caught up in a world of deadly danger and complex magic, compelled by forces she cannot understand. Kerrigan is hounded by dark beings bent on seeing that message and its reluctant carrier never reach their destination. So, written in the heyday of epic fantasy bloat. Yeah, I'm willing to give it a shot or another shot at some point in time. I think I've got first four books in that series. I don't know if there's more than that, but spoiler alert, I've got one more paperback that will kick off the next one, and then a hardcover or 2. I think a hardcover and a trade paperback. I don't need matching sets unless I really enjoy it. So there you go. There's my 10. That was fun. It was good to be making a video again, other than an impromptu unboxing. And thank you everyone for the kind words on that video. She warms everyone's heart, I think. And it's so wonderful to just see such a positive reaction. And yeah, we'll just stop it there this weekend. I'm going to try to get to at least one more library tour, and I'm definitely going to get to my Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. So what amounts to part 5. So I'll be talking about all 10 of those chapters because I'm behind. Let's face it, I'm probably not going to be able to squeeze 2 more videos in on that. So I might as well just hit all 10 chapters all at once. And there we go. Have a great day, BookTube.